like it matters.
It does, actually. Our knees are touching.
Oh my god.
That is hilarious.
Oh, my bad. Fuck, there's not a lot of space over here, Larry. You're a big guy, more than one way.
Hey, yo.
All right. We're back in the Mancave podcast.
He doesn't even give you like a heads up. It was like, I'm about to just say some crazy shit.
The mic is recording.
Yeah, everything's recording.
Today's a special one, or maybe a not so special one. We'll figure it out by the end of the episode. Because we have our first official. Is female the correct term, or do we say women? Because everything offends you guys.
I mean woman. It's an A, not an E.
Woman? How do I say it?
Woman.
Yeah.
Woman
First
and woman.
female, woman, that's good.
Why is female offensive?
I don't think female's offensive.
No, because I've heard that if you call a woman like trying to be like yo female or something, they kind of get offended.
Kind of get offended?
They
No,
do get offended.
definitely get offended.
Really?
You've never called a woman a female as a man, so you don't know what it feels like.
Well, I mean, it's more offensive and delicate now because of transgenders and things like that. But
Nah, I think you guys were offended by it before that. Don't throw them into the mix.
no, I'm saying like more now. It's more like when I see a female or something like that, like you or a male dressed as a female, you double take instead of talking first. You usually be like, okay, she's a guy. Like you're more cautious now because you don't want to offend people.
I think it's the tone behind it.
Yeah.
Like, female sounds derogatory when you're saying it to a woman or about a woman versus like...
Maybe. Anyway, let's go. Actually get into the introduction. We have our first female guest in the man cave, right? This was something near and dear to her heart that she'd be in here with us.
Yes,
representing men or women.
Women.
Yeah, it's because you really shouldn't be here. It makes me uncomfortable. My thought process goes off the wall. But no, this is... We're going to welcome Grauvin to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you for
She's
having
actually
me.
my sister-in-law.
Your favorite sister-in-law.
Sure. And, before we get into it, let's have the people figure out a little bit about you, right? Just if I were to say, like, top 3 favorite comedians, go.
Top 3 favorite comedians, definitely Hannibal. I really like him.
Okay.
Jim Carrey.
Perfect.
But more old school.
Yeah.
And Kevin Hart.
Interesting.
As corny as it sounds.
Yeah, none of them were women.
I was going to say, you didn't mention that.
Hey, there we go. You cut the camera. We got everything we fucking needed.
I don't
we should
know.
get into politics.
I don't know. Women comedian are like, I don't know. I feel like they don't touch some of them, most of them, or the ones that I've tried or listened to. I don't feel like they don't touch bases to things that I find funny or something. Like it's just not.
And you think that you connect more with like male comedians?
Yes, and I connect with more comedians that feel like they're more male comedians. Like you see, what's her name? Chelsea Handler. Mm-hmm. She's a comedian, but she's more like a man. Like I feel like she's like more of that vibe. Like I couldn't literally.
In what way?
In the sense that every woman talks about kids, talks about family, but she doesn't. She talks about her life, which is not having kids. She doesn't want to have kids. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have a husband, or she stopped dating Joe Kwan, whatever. She talks about real life stuff, like things that she's going through.
Yeah. So modern woman topics.
Yes, okay. Which is okay to talk about kids and stuff, but I have kids, and I be in the house with the kids all the time. I don't want to go outside and talk about kids.
Hear more about
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them.
No, I love my kids.
They're going to see this one, Mom.
Your mom.
You heard it here first. Anyway, interesting. We have a couple of things that we wanted to talk about today, some topics that we ran by her. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, the difference between men and women, right? You guys can't see the table, but she has a book of notes. Me and Larry have 2 beers. There's nothing to prove on our side.
It's light work.
Yeah. She came in with an agenda, right?
I spoke to some of my female cousins and a male friend, and I just wanted to get other people's perspective of the questions that we were going to talk about.
All right.
I'm curious, why did you ask your male friend about this particular topic?
Because he's my male friend. His name is Andy, and we usually throw like conversations in the air. He's the type of person that who I used to work with him. We'll be in the work environment, and he'll be like, "Hey, let me pick your brain. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Like, things that are going on in the world that actually happens." And he's the one that actually got me to think like, oh my God, talking about stuff is so good, or picking each other's brain, or you can have conversations with people without having an argument. Or
So if the conversation was about childbirth, do you think he would have something to add to the conversation?
as of no,
Yeah.
he wouldn't.
I mean, because you know why we're here today, what we're talking about. So that's why I'm curious why you
I
would
just
ask
wanted
him.
to hear his perspective as a Spanish, raised as a Spanish man in our culture, I guess.
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, to jump into it, one of the questions that we had in the notes that we gave you was, even before we started the podcast, and we had announced it, you were hitting me up like,
You announced the name.
the Mancave, and we were like, something's in the works. We're about to be making moves. You were like, I don't know, sounds kind of sexist.
The name.
Why? Mancave has been, everybody's heard that term.
No, I
Every
know,
man
but
has a man cave.
in my perspective, the man cave term, I felt like it was a man cave is usually where the man goes to do things when he wants to be alone or left alone, or it's usually visioned as that, as somewhere for men to be left alone. Men like, oh, I'm going to the man cave. Women usually give them their space in movies, in reality shows, and like anything.
Yeah. And that's
Just-
what this was supposed to be, an environment where men can escape reality and have conversations among
No,
themselves.
I know, but I was trying to say that if you wanted women to watch, wouldn't it be?
Here's the
sounds
thing.
more like
You're watching
males.
it because you are just like, what are they going to say now that women
No.
are not going to approve of?
I watch it because I like to support you. I feel like
Yeah, but I understand that, and I do appreciate it 100%. But is part of you also watching, like, let me see if they say something about women in this one?
no.
No?
I usually don't watch to let here. I really, to be honest with you, I watch because I feel that the struggles that you've been through in your life are struggles that people should know about, just because a lot of struggles happen in the world and people work differently. And you are, out of what I've seen, you grow up, and I've seen the way that you became, the husband that you became, the father you became. It makes you think like, there's hope. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're in such a bad situation, there's hope that it doesn't have to be right now that that you feel hopeless or you don't find anything. You're gonna grow to be something, to have a family, to have people there for you, that it doesn't have to be the people that you had before, but you kind of grow because you've grown up with us and you literally been part of our family for years now.
Yeah.
George, this is like a psychological tactic. You're trying to disarm
Oh,
you
I'm well
with all
aware.
these, like,
Please.
niceties.
Not my first dance.
Yeah, for sure. Stay locked in, bro. We here.
I think he's a professional because, he's married to my sister.
A maniac.
She's not a maniac.
She's a Spanish woman.
She's a Latin woman.
By definition. Maniac. So what about this podcast? Because I've gotten text messages every weekend, every episode, like, yo, I need to get on.
No,
For
I
what?
didn't
Like,
say I
what?
need to get on.
Nah, you was
every time
fighting.
you say something that I have a question or a comment, I definitely text it to you. You'll get to it, but at least I text it.
Yeah, but you also really wanted to come on.
I really wanted to come on because
What?
I've been dying to do a podcast for so many years to talk about just random things. I've just been very scared because cancel culture is so, everybody has something to say. I'm scared to be judged for what I'm going to say or the things.
Well,
that I
what's
say.
one thing that you have an opinion of that you think you would be canceled for?
I'm not sure. I mean, it depends because to me, my opinion might be just my opinion, and I think it's correct, and I think it's something.
You think your opinion is correct?
No, like if I have an opinion towards something, it might be that I think this way or I feel this way, but you might project it in another way, and then you might just come at me, or like I see how people online get attacked, and
Yeah, all the
it's
time.
kind of scary.
Kind of like how you attacked Chelsea Handler. So she's more like a man than a woman.
Not
That's what
more
I
like
heard.
a man. No, she's not. She's awesome. I love her. I read her books. I really like her. I just feel like she touches subjects that are different.
It's funny you said that because, like right now, a lot of the internet, like women only spaces are mostly like up talking about how they're tired of men and they're tired of men having podcasts like ours talking about male only content. So, like in your opinion, why aren't more women like you? Why are so many women displeased with kind of like how men are carrying themselves? If you are sitting here saying like you can see yourself having male friends,
it's just I don't think it's that women don't want men, or we don't want to hear what men have to say. I just feel that it's harder for men. Like women love to talk and express their feelings, but I feel like sometimes men don't do that. Like my husband doesn't do that.
We don't. We've been raised to not talk about it. This is nobody else's business but your own. And if you open up about it, then you're less than a man because you couldn't figure it out by yourself. That's just the normality, which is why we created this.
We have come to the, like now as a society, we know that, you guys know that it's now more than ever needed to be, not only women have space to speak their minds, to say whatever they want, but men too, because mental health.
Of course.
And now that we're more aware of it, I don't feel like it's like we're not aware of it, but now that it's more aware apparent in everything. Like even with my children, like I have a son who is about to be 16, and I try to get him, me and my husband always try to get him to express himself and say what he really wants or what he wants to say. Sometimes he's just in a bad mood and I'm just like, I'll come back to you. But just remember, or I correct him and I'm like, that was wrong, but I get what you're coming from. Like, I'm not disregarding your feelings, but I get where you're coming from. And usually when my husband was younger or things like that, I feel like he was taught the man is supposed to protect the family and I guess, be the head of the household.
Yeah.
I think my husband was raised more old school than me. So, his main goal is to protect the household, to provide and all that. And then when it comes to feelings and emotions and all that, to help him too, in the process of helping my son, to communicate, say what you want to say how you want to feel. And acknowledge, like I always tell my kids that, acknowledge other people's behavior, acknowledge your behavior, acknowledge what's going on, because I didn't start doing that until like recently.
It's I like you pointing out like his role to play in the house and your role to play in the house. Now I know him, for a little while.
Yeah.
And I've said it before. I think when it comes to a male father figure, I think he does a great job. I've seen, like I said in one of the earlier episodes, where the kids were acting up, and the way I was raised, I would just got my ass whooped and just told to sit on the couch and not say a word. That's just how it was. Mm-hmm. I've seen him pull them to the side and have a conversation, and he never laid a hand on them. And it was just like, damn, that's something that I didn't know that actually could happen. I didn't know kids would react the way that they reacted. So with that thought process that he plays that role, and, he is protecting the house. He obviously, makes sure that he does his fair share for finances. Earlier in the year, we had talked about a male and how he represents like a daughter's dating life. You have a daughter, right? Obviously, he's going to do everything in his hand or in his power to make sure that she knows what a good man is and what to look for, what not to look for, what are red flags. Right? A man that's going to treat her the way that he treats her, right? And I had said that though that may be a good thing, it still sets unrealistic expectations for other men to date her because no man is going to treat her the way that he treats her. No one's going to treat her like the angel or anything. It's an unrealistic expectation, right? And then the vice versa is a girl who doesn't have a father figure like he does in the picture and doesn't know what to look for, doesn't know what the red flags are, doesn't know how to be treated by a man. And because of that, her dating life is going to be a little rough because her father figure wasn't there. She doesn't know what's a good father figure or what a man is, how a man is supposed to treat a woman. She never saw it. And when I talked about it in that clip, you didn't really agree, kind of. You were like, no, because
I'm a fatherless daughter. So let me explain. A fatherless daughter or a fatherless male I was raised by my mother. I saw the struggles. My mother went through it. I saw her pain. I saw her suffering. I lived it. And I didn't live with a father figure in my house.
Okay.
Which, no disrespect to my dad, it's just, he wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
There's certain father figures that you have. You have the invisible dad that he's never there. You have the father, the peekaboo dad. That's what I had, a peekaboo
She's looking
dad.
at the notes, guys.
Yes, I'm looking at my notes. A peekaboo dad. I had a peekaboo dad. But it didn't come to terms until I said, until I had my son. Because I didn't care to have a relationship with my father because I felt like he didn't care. So why do I have to chase you if you're the father? Like, that's so lame. So I felt that I did have a lot of hate for him, a lot of anger and all that. But after I had my son, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want my kids to be grown up without having their grandparents because I'm being selfish, Maybe my dad wasn't taught how to be a father. Maybe, but I've dated guys who were older than me. I've dated guys who were completely different than me. And did I compare them to a father? No. But was I looking for guidance? Like for someone to take care of me? Yes. I think I dated men that I felt that were just to take care of me, to feel taken care of or cared by someone. And then when I met Kervin, I was in a point of my life that I was like, I'm not dating anymore. I need a break. Like, I need to get to, I need to stop. This is insane. I'm dating all these men. Like, not all these men. That sounds horrible.
Oh.
No, like, I dated 2 or 3 men that were older, and it's just weird. But until I got to the point that I understood that I was a fatherless daughter and that all that pain that I went through, it was not my father's fault. It was things it was me, my hate, my anger, my not trying to. After I had my son, I called him and I told him, look, this is how I feel. This is what I don't like about you. I'm about to have, when I told him I was 9 months or 8 months pregnant, he didn't know I was having a baby.
And she chuckles.
Yes. He didn't know I was having a baby, and I was like 8 or 9 months, and I used to call every day private to get the courage to tell him that I was pregnant and that I was having a son. And I would call every day, and I'm like, and Kervin will be like, dude, but you're about to give birth, my husband. And he'll be like, you're about to give birth. Like, you need to speak to your dad. I'm like, So I would call all the time. And then when I did call him, and I was like, it's me. He was like, oh. And I'm like, I've been calling blocked. And he's like, I've noticed, but I didn't know it was you. So then I told him everything that I felt. Like, I felt like you abandoned me. I felt like, I don't know. I didn't feel loved by a man. And yeah, you think that you would grow up to be, for my daughter, like an expectation of a man. No, you grow up knowing, like, at least I had my uncles. My uncles, Chelos and Carlos, were there when I was young, especially Chelo. He changed my perspective on men to the point, the way that he treats his wives. When he was married, he was very, like, loving, caring, emotional, like, cared about his wife, made his wife his priority. And I was like, wow, like, that's really nice, the way my uncle treats his wife. Like, I would like somebody to treat me like that. So there's, like, there's people around your circle or even in your job environment that you get to see, like, oh, that's a good treatment. And yeah, maybe my daughter's going to have an amazing expectation of a husband, but at least she's going to have an expectation of a husband who respects her, of a husband who's going to be there for her, and of someone who not only provides, but actually physically there. Like, Kervin is physically in these kids' lives every single day, every moment of the day. Even if he's not home, he's, like, calling, so she's gonna see the difference between that's not acceptable, but it is acceptable. You know what I'm saying?
You said that you were a fatherless daughter.
Yes.
And you called your dad a peekaboo dad.
Yes.
Meaning, like, he was here 1 minute and out the next. Okay. Did he feel the same way? Like, that he wasn't really involved in your life?
He told me that he apologized for not being in my life like he should. But, he apologized and I took it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand. Maybe he wasn't raised, like, to be like that, or why his actions are like that is different. But there's one thing that I will say. I've never, ever been jealous of my sister and my brother for having, like, I'm actually excited for them that they got to experience my father as a father to them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Why'd you bring that up though?
because I don't want my siblings to think that just because I say that I'm a fatherless daughter, or my dad to think that I don't consider him a dad or he's a bad father. No, I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just saying that I was raised without him. And I was raised in a household of a woman that my mom always have a backup plan. When I got with Kervin, she'll be like, girl, have a backup plan. Like, you don't know how long these men are going to be. You know, she always told me that you don't know how long men are going to be there. You have to have a backup plan. You have to have everything separate. You have to be. And I'm like, but why? And I taught her. Like, in that experience, my mom learned, like, damn, there's different men out there that you can be like, you know.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. I think a lot of women teach their daughters that because they don't have the trust in men. So they want to teach their daughters, like, you know, rely on yourself for the most part. But I think if you're going to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you should be able to trust them 110%.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be like I have a backup plan because just in case. No, it's like that's what I would tell my mom. I'll be like, look, I don't need a backup plan with Kervin because we're together, working on it together. And then to her, that was foreign. Like, she didn't understand that. So she'll be like, oh, do you want me to save for you or you can't save for yourself? I'm like, no, I can. It's fine. Like, she's like, are you sure? She's always wanted me to have a back, but not anymore. Like, you know, because Kervin has outdone himself and proved himself to her that she feels good enough for Kervin to... She feels good enough with Kervin that she feels that he is there for me, you know, that he's there for her, or that I'm not going to be left alone or anything.
Mm-hmm. So I saw you post something on the Instagram like earlier in the year where you kind of alluded to men not really being needed in the household. You said something like, you know, I grew up kind of without my dad. I turned out fine. I think the statistics would prove otherwise, but I'm curious to hear why you feel like you're the exception to the rule.
Not that I think that... Like, I think it's doable.
Okay.
To raise a male or a female in a household with only one parent, it's doable. My mom did it. Was it hard? Hell yeah. Would it be easier to have someone to support your opinion, to support what you believe in, to support, to back you, just back up. Like, I just look at Kervin sometimes and he'll take over. It's just backup because sometimes I'm drowning in a cup of water and he's like, you're fine. Like, you're not. But to me, I'm like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. I got to get out this house. Like, you know. So I feel like, yes. And maybe if I would have had a father in the house, maybe I would have not seen my mom so sad or suffering or going through it or worried about money or anything. I would have not seen her go through that because she actually has someone to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? But it's not that I'm the exception. Of course not. It's just that it's doable. It could happen. And I feel like if you give your kids enough tools, they'll use them the right way. So I feel like my tools that I was given by my mom, I used them to a certain point, you know. Then I went to my uncle and I call my uncle all the time and get his opinion. Because to me, that's like my father. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I didn't get what I needed in my house, but I got it in my family. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, I mean, it's not like your father's your male role model in the house, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's doable.
It is doable. I mean, countless women do it all the time.
Should it be done?
Countless men do it all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's not what we're kind of talking about. I just think that we want to get some clarity. Do you agree or disagree that for a child to have, on paper, a better, you know, understanding of parents, mom, dad, lifestyle, that you should have both parents in the picture?
I don't know if I could agree on that or not. I think I agree that, is it better? Yes. Is it better? Of course, yes. Can I provide it? I would love to. Like, that's my goal in life, to provide that me and Kervin will be together so that we can raise these kids together. But if by God willing it can't happen, we have to break up or we're not in love anymore, we don't want to be together, it's a sad thing saying that, okay, well, things are going to change. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I wouldn't want to raise my kids by myself because I feel like having the perspective of the male and having the perspective of the female helps out a lot.
Of course.
And it changes the way that your kids view things, I guess. But it is doable, but I agree that I would rather have both parents in the house. Yes, but if you can't do it, you just can't. Because sometimes it's just, let's say me and you, like you and your wife, let's say you and my sister come to a point in your relationship that you guys don't get, you just hate looking at each other.
I would kidnap the children and then run away. I mean,
but I'm saying, I'm taking Eli. But what I'm saying is that there's men that will say, or women that will say, you know what? It doesn't matter. Even if we're not, I just want to keep this household together. But I believe that the most important thing is for me and Kervin to have a relationship in the sense that love takes work. Mm-hmm. Love takes work. Marriage takes work. Raising kids takes work. Like everything takes work. So if he's not willing to do the work anymore, that he's putting in half, and I'm not willing to do, because we're not putting in 50-50. It's not 50-50. I'm putting in 100% and he's doing 100%. You know what I'm saying? It's 100% him and 100% me. So that brings us to a very good amount. Kervin does photography on the side. Yeah. Kervin does all that. And who's in the house supporting him and telling him, like, you know what, you're good. You don't have to worry about that. It's me. But when I want to go out, we support each other. Everything, it takes work. Everything is communication. What's the other question? Happy life, happy wife?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to kind of head to that direction, get to the next question. I mean, that's a cliche quote, right? Happy wife, happy life. That's the tale as old as time. And the meaning behind that is kind of like men have to put their happiness to the side and make sure that their wife is happy or their lives will be miserable. Why would you say that in a household, the woman or the wife's happiness would be prioritized over the man's happiness?
I don't like that quote because it's like happy life, happy wife, happy life. Yeah. I think people use it more as a joke, like funny. You use it all the time. All the time.
Cliches aren't like, they're earned, right? Cliches are earned. They're not just made up. So that quote was made because that's the reality for so many men, a lot of marriages. And I mean, yeah, I view it the same way, because if my wife's upset, the household's going to be miserable. It's not going to be, the kids are going to know it. I'm going to know it. The fucking dog's going to know it. It's like everything's going to be wrong. So I have to put my priorities to the side and make sure that she's taken care of and that she's happy. If not, everything's off balance.
No, definitely. But to that point too, wouldn't you want for my sister to say, you know what? I feel this way. I'm going through this. Like I tell Kervin, like, I'm going through something right now. I don't feel good. I feel this. Can you at least acknowledge, and then it'll be easier. Instead of just being mad, stomping around the house, I'd rather just go to Kervin and be like, look, I don't like this. I don't like this. This hurts. This bothers me. And we can talk about it, solve the issue, and just move on. Because the thing is, happy wife, happy life. Like, what do you want? You want your husband to keep you happy all the time? Like,
that's the expectation.
But it is a very hard expectation, because not even me, I'm not happy all the time. There's sometimes that I'm just neutral or going through something, or not even know that I'm going through something. Because when you have kids, your week goes by so fast that sometimes I'm just surviving the week. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
it should be your own responsibility also to make yourself happy. Shouldn't be somebody else's fucking responsibility to make you happy. Yeah. Like, that's such a stupid thing.
Yeah. I feel like it sounds like...
Yeah, I mean, as much as we sit at this table and say that the quote is a stupid quote, right? But like I said, it's a quote that was conjured up because it's the reality for so many people.
I feel like it was a quote that was conjured up because I think the way that it says, like, oh, happy... whatever, happy
wife, happy life. Hey, you never had to experience
It'll make it seem that the male is trying to do more, or the male has to, or it's like telling men, like, you got to do more around here to have a happy life or a happy wife. So you got to put in part on your wife's emotional feelings or whatever she's going through, or she's mad. You have to put more so that you can at least get her happy, which I think that's unfair.
Yeah, but it's that. You was going to say something.
Yeah, because I actually had this conversation with Abby the other day. That's my fiance. Mm-hmm. And she was basically saying that our understanding of it is limited. Like, and this is her point. I don't agree. But basically she was saying, happy wife, happy life means that as a husband, if you pour into your wife, the expectation is that she's going to do the same. Is pour back into you. So now it's not this that she's happy. The entire house is happy because both people are reciprocating whatever energy is supposedly being put out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what it's supposed to be, but that's
Yeah.
That sounds a little better than.
I mean, how many jokes do we see on the internet on a daily where women can't see men like get comfortable? If you sit down, hey, can you actually go grab something? Or as soon as you pull out your phone, they've been on their phone for an hour. If I pull my phone out, they'd be like, "What are you doing on your phone?" Is this like the double standard of not?
I'll do you one better. Turn your fucking PlayStation on.
Oh
If
my
she's
God.
in another city, I guarantee you, she will make it home before that shit says press start. I guarantee you.
Because, like, I mean, you're not, as much as the man cave, a lot of guys try to have that in their own home. You have to fight for that. I mean, you have to be like, well, I made that space for me. I kind of want it to just be my space. But it's never that. I got nice shit in here, but it's not my space. Like,
But so my house, it's our house, right? So that's not. I would want a space too by myself. You know what I'm saying? When I'm home, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, taking them to the doctor, doing what Kervin can because he's working. Then he comes home and we have to run errands. Of course, I want to do them together. Yeah, I'm like, you know what, let's do it. But that doesn't mean that I was sitting at home doing nothing, hanging out all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually want to break too, just because you were not home and I get that you were working. And of course, people want to, when you are person who's always home, you want to go out and do all these things. But I think it should be a common courtesy. Like, me and Kervin now have gotten to the point that I'll tell Kervin, like, do you want, come with me? Sometimes I'll be like, you better come with me. But sometimes now he'll be like, oh, I don't want to go. Like, you want to go? I'll be like, okay, whatever, and I'll go. Or he'll say, like, you want me to go? Like, I'll go even faster. I'll go quick, and you don't have to take the baby or anything. I'll just go. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. I think it's more of the communication. Instead of going into argument and fighting, like, me and Kervin talk about everything. Like, we sit there and we talk and we communicate, and I say how I feel and I say how he feels, and then we come into an agreement. Because before, I used to just get mad. I used to be like, oh my God, this guy, he never wants to do anything. And it was not even that. It was just that he's tired and he misses his house too. He wants to be home, or if he wants to play or something, it's like, I feel like it's better if you're communicating, like, look, can we go Sunday since I've been out all week Saturday. I know you haven't been out, but like, I just want to be home. I just want to sit down and whatever. It's easier said than actually just holding it in. Instead of you going out everywhere with Elines, you're going to go out with a bad mood. You're going to go pissed off. And when you go out, you're going to be like, oh my God, another store? Like, yo, let's just go. Like, you're just going to be like that the whole time. And instead of doing that, why don't you just be like, yo, can we go tomorrow? I'll be in a better mood tomorrow. I'm tired.
it looks nice. It's a pretty picture to paint. But
but at this, you should hold Elines accountable too. Like, you should be like, like, I try, I don't think she's a person that doesn't understand. She does.
But she's also a woman, so it's like you can only really convince. You
No,
can only have
that's
so
not
much
true.
of a conversation before.
But that's not true. That's not true. You could communicate. Like, my sister looks like she's very hard. She's hard-headed, yes. But she looks like someone that you can talk to. I mean, if you're talking to me like this in this tone and we're communicating, then
there's
arguing.
cameras on,
But I'm arguing or being mad or with an attitude. Like, if my husband tells me something with an attitude, like, I shut off. Like, or trying to argue, I don't argue. I just like, okay, I'll be back. I don't argue anymore. Yeah.
Well, I don't know their situation, but I will say you know her as a sister, not as a wife or not as a husband. So the dynamic is always going to be different. Like, she's going to meet him with different energy than she's going to talk to you.
What you don't feel like you can speak to her? I think.
No, I mean, I do all the time. Obviously, you try to have conversations, and that's as much as what you can do. Because you don't want to argue. We have a kid in the house. We have another one on the way. Arguing is the last thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that every now and again I don't imagine throwing her off the balcony.
Oh my God.
But conversations.
Can we use this against him in a court of law?
But yeah, no, of course we have conversations, and I feel like I can talk to her. But it gets to the point where I'm just like, it's kind of a useless conversation sometimes, where it's like, it doesn't matter what I say, what she says is going to happen. Even if I be
why?
Like, because she's the wife.
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes all the sense.
No.
All right?
Because if my son had a wife, I would want my son's wife to respect my son.
Of course, it's not coming out of a place of disrespect.
No. I'm trying to say, like, to consider. Like, I would think that if you was to sit down, don't ever feel that if you feel something, it's an endless conversation. Because then you are giving up on something that you actually bothers you. If you do that, then you're giving in not only to my sister, but you're giving in to yourself. Like, okay, whatever. So then you constantly keep doing that. And there's going to be a point that there's not going to be nothing.
Yeah, but as a man, I have to pick my battles with my wife. And I'm not going to fight every fight with her.
No, your wife is a fighter.
It's like, it's just, if there's 10 things on my list, I'm not going to talk to her about all 10 things. It's like I have to pick one of those things to have a conversation about. I have to pick my battles with her because if not, this is going to be endless and that's exhausting. And I just, as a man, you just got to be like, all right, this is the reality. This is what it is. And just keep moving.
But with age. So it's like with age, with the age of a relationship, things like my relationship has changed in so many ways since I started that we are so far, right? Like beyond me confirming. We're so far beyond and like so different from the beginning that they are little arguments that remind us of that. But I feel like it's more like now, like if we do argue or have a discussion, it's more about me telling him like, dude, I feel like this. I just want you to know that I feel like this. Or I just want you to see what's going on. Or I just want you to understand what I feel because I feel like you don't get it. He'll be like, oh, I understand your point. Like, it's just, I guess, like now, because my kids are older, because we've been together for so long, you know. And two is hard on my sister. She's pregnant with 2 kids. Like, it's not, when you have one, you eating, you enjoying, like, hey, you know. The second one, yeah, you have one in here, but you got one running around. So you're running around chasing. And having 2 kids in diapers is not easy.
Can you recall a time where he started an argument with you about something?
George?
No, your husband. I mean, I've heard 3 today with George.
George is being really mean to me. He didn't even bring me a beer.
Because you need to keep your head on straight. All right, you got a lot right, and you're representing all the women.
Seriously,
damn, I feel this is a lot.
On top of it, like, can we talk about Eve? Like, why does she have to go eat from the forbidden fruit after we told her not to? She said, "I'm fucking." I'm like, can you talk about her? Explain her reasoning.
Let me see. Last argument?
Yeah. Well, any argument. And it doesn't have to be something crazy because obviously your business is on the internet. So
the last argument we had
that he initiated.
Oh, that he initiated. Yeah.
And see, you can't think of one. I guarantee I can give you 15 minutes. It'll take you that long because this is to George's point. Is like you have to choose your battles because as the man, you're not sitting at home thinking of different things to bring up to your wife. It's not like, oh man, she didn't clean the goddamn dishes. Let me go down here and bash her upside her head. But let you forget to take out that motherfucking trash. Oh, they say get you a husband.
Yeah, you got one job and you can't even do it.
There
like,
it is.
Come on.
Thank you.
So this is the thing. The last argument we had, the last argument that we had was, I feel like he has so much stuff of camera all over.
And this is the conversation that he started, or you were
like,
yo, get your fucking shit
I guess because
together.
I put all of his stuff on one corner. Like, I was so mad. I just put it on one corner and I left it. And he's like, come on, like, what are you doing? These are my things. These are, like, it's very delicate. Like, look where you put my stuff. And I'm just like, dude, I don't care about your stuff. I'm telling you, it looks messy. Like, come on. And he's over here like, look, this cost this and this. You just threw it. Like, you're not considerate of my video stuff and all that. Well, that was the last argument we had.
It sounds like you started it because you said you were mad, and so you just put all his shit in one
because
corner.
all his stuff is everywhere. Like, he has cameras.
Why couldn't you just be like, hey, there's a mess here.
Oh, but I done that. That was like 2, 3. That was like when I got mad and moved it. That means that all that was able to be done was done. Like the texting, oh my God, look at your stuff. You want to go clean your stuff? I'll help you. Look at him hiding because he knows. Oh, that's funny. No, but mostly, though, I feel like before I used to be like, oh my God, girl power, like all this. But then when you have boys, right, and you go through things in school, in life, or whatever, you tend to think like girls in there was a girl that hit my son when he was little. She hit him in the face or spit at him, something. And then, the teachers, I felt like they weren't doing nothing. So I got upset. And I'm like, you know what? Next time she hits you, you tell her. Look,
that's when you really believed in equal rights and equal lefts.
Yes. She was like, I was like, next time she hits you, tell her, don't hit me. I don't like it. if you hit me again, I'm going to hit you. And he was like, okay, mind you, he didn't do that. He went to school and she hit him again and he started crying.
Because you raised him well.
Because he didn't do it. But when I went to school, like, and the principal wouldn't pay attention to me because it was a little boy. Oh, but, you know, she's going through stuff. The mom or the dad is in jail and they're going through things. Can you be? I'm like, oh, so I have to be understanding because you have you have issues in your household. Like, I have a household
you have to
too.
be understanding because it's a girl hitting a boy.
Yeah, like, no. But if it was my
versa,
son punching her, it would be. So then I got really upset and I called the junior police on the lady, on the school. And they went over there. The junior police went over there. They spoke to them. And all
that
of a
little
sudden,
girl's doing 15 to life.
How do you say
15
Karen
to
in
life.
Spanish?
She's a little Karen. No, but it was just so mean. Like, it was always something, the spitting, the hitting. And then I'm very big on, I did tell my son to hit her, but I really didn't, like, I didn't want to do that because that's like old people influencing. Like, I feel like my mom would tell me when I was little, if you don't hit people, if you don't hit them back, I'm going to hit you.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to tell my son that. But then after he didn't do it, I told him, you know what? If you don't feel that that's okay, then don't do it. Like, so he doesn't, I didn't want to change the way that he handled himself in that situation.
It's good you did that because when he gets older, it doesn't matter if she hit him first or not. If you knock her ass out, he's going to jail. So don't even establish the habit of hitting women back.
Well, true. That's true. But then again, it makes me feel like if my son is smacked 2-3 times,
he can't do anything to her.
Of course, but he got a mother who could.
Oh, Lord.
No, but I mean, like, I don't want to encourage, like, you know, but I think violence shouldn't be from women and men. Like, we should keep at least control ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want nobody to be touching you or hitting you. It's vice versa. I don't want a girl to be hitting my sons or, like, there's even girls in his class that play like that. Like, they play smacking each other and all that. But then I'm like, I tell him, like, don't play like that because she's going to hit you hard one day. You're going to get very upset or you're going to push her something. And that's going to be a whole thing. So that's why I tell them, don't play by hands. Don't, you know.
Speaking of kids, did y'all both want kids? Like, was it like an equal kind of understanding?
I didn't know I wanted kids, so I was having kids. I always knew that I wanted kids because I was an only child. So I felt lonely a lot.
Okay.
And I always wanted kids and I always wanted more than one. That was my main goal. Always more than one. Because I was really lonely. I only had my cousins.
If Curvin had told you he didn't want to have kids, would you have still had the kid?
That he don't want to have my kid?
If he didn't want to have kids. If he's like, no, I don't want kids, but you're already pregnant.
I think that was something that we would have had to talk about. Because I was really young, too. I had my son when I was 20. Or 21, 20 something.
I thought you were going to say like 13. 20
Oh,
is
no,
kinda
my God.
like, 20 is like fair.
No, but it's fair now.
Yeah, that's true.
But back then, when I was pregnant, I felt like I was ashamed. Like, you know, I was ashamed that I got so pregnant so young. And especially for my mom, because she, you know, her beliefs, like when I saw her reaction, it really like hit me like, oh shit, like I'm really having a kid. Like, this is crazy. And I was so ashamed. I didn't tell my dad till I was like 9 months. So, no, I didn't plan to have kids. Do I regret my kids? No. Have I learned and changed? Maybe, but I think I've learned, and it's funny that I'm going to say this, but I think in the past year or two, I feel like I have learned more and understand more and actually learned to live with things more than I ever did when I was younger.
I'm glad you said that because it's not the situation for a lot of dudes. It's like, you know, if the woman wants to keep it, the guy has to go along, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's just the normality, right? I mean, obviously, if the woman makes the decision whether she keeps her child or not, the guy can speak as much as he wants against it, but the woman's going to be like, well, no, I'm having this baby, and the baby's born. Now, the man who was against having the baby is on the hook for the rest of the baby's life, even though he was completely against it. How do you feel about a situation like that where it's like you have this situation, you made the decision that he did not want, and now your decision affects him for the rest of his life, and you know, you guys, let's say in a situation where you're not married or whatever, now he has to pay child support payments because you made that decision.
So I think it's unfair because, in a sense, unfair of oh, I just want to have a kid. I'm gonna have it. I don't care, right? I think that there always should be a conversation about that, because what if, he doesn't want to have a kid, right? But because you had the kid anyways, who's going to suffer in the situation? The kid, because he's going to be mad at you for having that kid anyways. Why would I want to be in somebody's life that I didn't want in the first place? Mm-hmm. That's what a man's going to say. And why would I even want to have a relationship forced? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like it should be a conversation that should be had. Because why, as a woman, I mean me, why would I wanted to have a kid with Kervin if Kervin would have been like, I don't want to have a kid? Why would I be like, you know what? I'm still going to make you a father, so you still got to be a father. Like, it is what it is. Like, do it.
I mean, we could probably come up with a handful of reasons as to why.
No, but I'm saying, isn't it easier to sit down and say, these are the reasons why I think I can't right now, but these are the reasons why I think we should, or why do you want, you know what I'm saying? It's always, I even have a cousin who went through that. She was with someone for a few years, and she loved them to death. And it came to a point that she realized that that she wanted kids, and maybe he didn't. Who knows? The conversation wasn't given. But to the point, what I'm trying to say is that she chose herself. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ended a 3-year relationship because they didn't want the same things. And I think that's more mature than being with someone for 7 more years and expecting, he'll change his mind.
Do you think that if in a relationship where they completely opposites disagree about having the child, that if the woman's like, well, I'm having this baby with or without you, that at that situation, the man should be able to opt out of child support payments because it's not his decision. It was your decision. Now you're forcing his hand into it, and then the government's going to force his hand into it. Do you think he should be able to opt out because you made that decision for him?
Yeah, but the thing is that I don't think he should opt out, because if you don't want to play the role of a present father, at least you have to help support this kid.
That's not what I wanted. I didn't make this decision.
No, I know, but
I didn't want this
is,
kid because I can't financially afford him.
course.
Now we can talk about safe sex and everything, but the decision's already been, it's already done.
Yeah, but the thing is that when you come to that point and you have sex, of course, all that, you have to understand that comes with it, right?
Yeah, but you have a choice on left or right. Now I no longer do. The choices that were on the table for me are gone.
But what I'm trying to say is that the person's life that you're going to be changing by giving that money, by being there, is the kids.
Oh, I understand.
So the kid it's already coming, right? Like, there's no in between. The kid is coming. Yeah. So you as a man have to say, you know what? I have to be there, not for her, because she's, but at least to make it, at least consider that child is coming into the world, and he might, he's going to need stuff.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. I do know, any saint, good man would be but my argument is that women just continue to have those kind of power leverages over the guy when it comes to finances. When it comes to a woman who marries a rich man, and if they didn't sign the prenup and they divorce, somehow she's allowed half. It's is that fair to you? It's more of just oh, well, now some of that money is mine.
I think it's fair. Look,
that's fair to you?
It's fair in the sense that if me and Kervin were married and we've been together for 10, 15 years, I helped build that.
That's different. I said married a rich man.
So if you married a rich man, right?
If you helped build the financial structure that you guys, then obviously you guys built it together so that you're due some of it. Yeah. But if you married, because it happens so often where a guy marries a woman, she marries a rich guy, and then they split up, she's leaving with half. You okay? Would you think that's fine? Get your money, girl. Fuck him.
It's not okay. It's not fine because you're taking half, but why does it always have to go to marriage? Why can't? Because
if it's not marriage, then it's the child. Those two things are always gonna keep a man on a hook. There's those two things.
I mean, there's men that the women have a kid and they sign their rights right there, and they don't want nothing to do, and they give their rights up, and that's it. And that response. Look at Safari from Love and Hip Hop. That he just win his child support case and he gave up? Didn't he just sign off away his kids and he doesn't have to pay child support. I think because
That's a thing.
Yeah, I
he
never
signed.
even heard
So
of that.
we're gonna research it.
Sign
later.
away my rights.
He
Though?
signed his.
What does that look like?
You sign your rights as a father. You're signing your parental rights as a father or as anything in those
I have
child's
never
land.
heard of that. I have
What?
never heard
Google it
about
right now.
signing
Safari.
away your rights as a father.
Safari did that, and because he was married with that girl, I forgot her name. He was married with her, and he didn't have to pay child support because he gave up his rights.
Never heard of that.
What? Yes, if you give up your rights as a father, then you don't have no rights, but you would not be. They can't put you on child support because you gave up your rights.
Well, what I'm seeing on every website is that she's upset about the amount that he's paying.
But she's not getting amount. I think in the video it says that she says, but he's not paying child support.
Okay. I mean, I would have to sit down.
Research.
But this is from November. He's paying her $4,300 a month in child support.
Also, maybe that changed. But I think I saw it was a video that she said.
Which is stupid. $4,300 a month.
From all the money that he makes.
Your house is $500,000 at $4,300
That's not
a month.
fair.
It's not fair to who?
Shit.
It's not fair to the kids. Because the thing is that you're not taking money. The thing, George,
$4,300 a month.
What fucking kid needs that much?
I don't make that money. My son is fine. My next one's gonna be fine.
But imagine she lives in a house that pays $10,000.
She don't need to live in that house.
But when she bought a house with him,
now she's making decisions to increase the amount of money that she's coming because that's an open well of cash now.
No, but if you have a kid with someone who has more money and has more whatever, there's a different lifestyle because you're used to having better schools. You pay for school. You do all these things. You have all these activities. You have these fancy cars. You have this big house. Yeah, it comes with more. It's more fancy, but it is like it's not a luxury. It's the way that they're used to living.
Craziest argument about.
Like, I get your point, but here's the reality. If she's not the breadwinner, right? She marries into this relationship, whatever, they break up. He was the breadwinner. So taking care of the household was her job. She just lost her job. You have to take a step back.
Oh my God.
You don't get to live in your condo if you don't have a job. You go get an apartment.
Oh my God.
Is that not fair?
I mean, the thing is that you have to think about it like this. If it's a woman who's by herself, then yeah, she's going to have to get unaccustomed to living like that, right? Because she has to now fend for herself. But if it's a woman who has a kid, I feel like the kids shouldn't suffer.
No, the kid's going to have that life when he come over and live with me every now and again.
But why shouldn't the kid have always that life?
Because your mom left.
Okay, but you're making the kid suffer because his mom made decisions for herself.
Then give me custody. If I have all the money, then she has to get him on the weekends. Don't give him don't give her the kids all willy-nilly when I can afford to keep taking care of him 100%. Now I need her to take the kids, and then now I got to pay her more money than she deserves because she's the mom. But I'm a good dad. I got the money to support my kids. But on paper, the mom's always going to get the kids every time. And for the husband to do it, man, do they have to fight. No, regardless of who they are and how much money they have. That's just what it is. So because she just automatically gets the kids, I have to pay $4,300 a month. And that's minimum from what I've heard. That's a low amount. Some people pay ridiculous amounts of money.
But that's a low amount for someone like him, like a celebrity.
Yeah, I mean...
But you don't watch like court shows for
I don't got time to be watching court
shows.
Or
like well, I do. I feel like maybe like child support and stuff. There's people that pay like $200, $300
because it's based off of their income.
It's based off of your income.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that we think that child support is so bad and that the mothers are using it. But there's fathers. There's a lady on TikTok that I watch all the time, and I think she's hilarious. But it really breaks my heart when I hear her videos. She says, "Here we are, my son's monthly child support, $34. Let's see what he's gonna eat this week." And then she's like, "I bought him a pack of strawberries. It's gonna last him.
Okay, relax.
30 days.
She's baiting you. Yeah, the other day you sent me a picture of a silly little book you were reading, where it was called "Undefining My Masculinity."
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck?
Man enough. Are you man enough?
Are you
undefine my masculinity?
Well,
okay, it's like it's a good book. It's an amazing book. It's by an author. He did
Pander?
No, Virgin. What is Virgin? damn, Jane, the Virgin.
We're gonna have to make sure we put this on the clip so everybody can go and
Main,
drag his fucking reviews.
Oh my God, yes, he does have a lot of reviews on this book, which is amazing.
All women being like, oh my God, the way that he just redefined his masculinity. I wish other men could do the same thing.
I
Do
mean,
you think masculinity is an issue?
I don't think it's not that it's I'm not saying that this is not an issue, but I just feel like men should be aware of how they make others feel, especially about them. Like being manly and all that is all good, and you know, making your family feel secure. But it's good to acknowledge, like, it's not everything. You know, acknowledge, like, if men were not all in, women, they do everything. They do it themselves. She got it. She do it. Nah. You should be a little more considerate and a little more understanding. I feel like that book, every man should read.
I'll tell you what, no man is going to.
It looks exactly like what we talked about.
Yeah. So give me a quick synopsis of what he's talking about in this book.
So he's talking about understanding, like accepting your feelings, understanding what is like your men, like what men feel. Like he went through a lifetime of experience, you know, going through everything that he went through. So he tries to explain and show that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to go through mental issues. Like he's just making it okay, and it's understanding.
It's interesting. I mean, that I think agree with. That's okay. But to categorize that to be unmasculine is kind of an issue.
I think he's more saying like I'm unmasculine in this
because I think
reading,
now
in this
people are
book.
confusing regular masculinity with toxic masculinity, which is a very real thing.
Yeah.
And I think toxic masculinity is being portrayed so much that masculinity in general, people just want to take it away. So again, you can continue what you were saying, but it kind of does quickly. It just kind of seems like, oh, I undefined my masculinity. Now I feel more vulnerable. Now I feel a little more intact with my emotions. But like, no, you can still be a man and feel that, and I can still say that I'm masculine.
Yeah, but most men are not okay with sharing their opinions or sharing their feelings, or they just don't deal with it. Like, that's why men try to get over women in a week. And then women sit in their that's the one thing I tell my kids, sit in your feelings. Like, if you're mad, sit in it.
Nah, that's going to lead to some negative things. I need to move on. Keep it going.
You know why why I tell them to sit in their feelings? Because you might be pissed off or mad for 20, 30 minutes. But you're like, wow, I feel mad. I'm angry about this. I don't like this. I don't do this. But after that, you're ready like to close it and let go. You get what I'm saying? I feel like I've been doing that, and it feels like you go through something, and that book makes you feel like open your mind to it's okay, meant to be not weak, but meant to be greater than. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to be open about your feelings. It's like he's making it okay for men to feel that. Like, it's okay.
He's not doing anything.
Well, he wrote a book about it.
And women are reading it.
Yeah, for every one guy leaving a review, there's 6 women.
I mean, women. Why would women read that book?
Because
to
he's
understand.
telling them what they want to hear.
Yeah, but it's just to more understand men more, basically.
But you're not hearing it from a man that's kind of being okay with masculinity. It doesn't sound like. Because we're trying to.
You haven't seen him though. He's very masculine. He's very manly.
Okay, his physique, maybe.
Yeah,
sure.
He's
Mr. Fabio looking ass.
He looks like Antonio Banderas.
Don't do that to Antonio, all right?
But no. But the thing is that, George, if your dad would have told you, "Hey, George, like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? Like, you look sad, or I'm just pissed off about that. Why are you mad? Like, it's okay to be mad. Like, acknowledge the feelings, make you feel like, you know what, George, I get it, but look at it this way. I feel like if you handle this way, you'll have a different outcome. Then wouldn't it, even if it's just for someone to hear you, right? Wouldn't that would have made a big difference and make you feel better?
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me that Kervin does that with his kids.
Yeah,
do you
Kervin
think you need to
constantly do that.
redefine your masculinity? No.
Well, see, I think George's bigger issue is with how it's being presented, right? It's not like, the man I choose to be, or, what it really means to be a man. It's undefining my masculinity. So just in the title alone, he know who he's trying to target. Like, I don't know a lot of men who's going to look at that book and say, yeah, I want to kind of like undefine who the fuck I think I am and be more of what women want me to be in terms of whatever it is to be a man. Like
because I think so much of what's going on is that, and that's why I have the issues, I guess, with the title of the book. Not so much
with the book.
With what the book is supposed to, but the title of the book encourages the idea that being men is wrong. That the idea of being a man, and yeah, I mean, if you want to be an emotional guy, that's fine. But if you also want to hold on to it and deal with it on your own, that is also fine. None of those two are wrong. Men have the capability of moving on in silence and taking care of it on their own. But we're also encouraging that if you can't do that anymore, go find some help. But I think what's happening is so much in the light today is like men should be ashamed of being a man. And then that title encourages that.
We literally had a therapist tell us that.
Yep.
He said, you don't have to talk about everything. Sometimes you can just deal with shit and move on. That's literally what he said. I don't know if that applies for women. He said specifically men.
Yeah. We are in the man cave.
So this is the thing. It's not that he's saying masculine. What he's taking responsibility is for himself in the book, right?
Okay.
For the way that he has hurt women in his life. For the way that he has treated people in his life. He feels that he opened up his man's... Sorry. How do you say it? Masculinity. Like he opened himself up to understanding that because I was this way, I hurt people without even noticing. I change people's like that's what he's talking about more in the book. I think the title is more about him personally opening.
He could have said undefining my masculinity.
Well, he could have said that, yeah. But
also to your point, I think people just hurt people just by existing. You don't have to be a masculine person. You can be a feminine. There's like people's take, using silence as more of like a feminine thing instead of being like an aggressor and coming and put, something to rest. So if you choose to not engage with someone, if you're being passive, it was like, oh, that's feminine. You can hurt people like that. It's called stonewalling. I learned that in therapy. And it's emotionally damaging to your partner. So it's not just about masculinity being damaging. You can just exist and hurt every fucking body, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, people take everything differently.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about his book. The way that he explains his book. That's how he explains it. It's not. And
you're loving it.
I like it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of books there that are really good. I'm gonna send you a few so you can debate.
Send them all to me. I don't know if I'll read one.
What about?
But I'm sure those titles will give me a chuckle. I think we kind of covered a lot of what we wanted to cover.
Yeah,
talk about your experience on the Man Cave as far as the conversations that we had. Now that we're trying to kind of wrap it up,
and how sexist we are.
Oh my God!
Should we change the title to the misogynistic podcast?
I think so because you guys, every male in this room got a beer except for me. That was so mean.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a White Claw handy.
They all went to the bathroom together. They didn't even.
Oh, now she's just making shit up. Making shit up.
I liked it. I feel like I feel like in an open space where we can speak and just back and forth and ping pong ideas and ping pong what we have to say, which is it's really amazing. I really like this idea and this feeling of listening to what Larry has to say because we were all raised differently. So it helps us to bring all of our knowledge that we have to see how, I can't believe he's living through that. And I can't believe George went through, you know what I'm saying? Like those are things that are really good. I enjoyed talking about. I don't feel like I saved the womankind or represented that much. I was actually talking about myself and representing myself and,
And that's all you can do. I'm joking.
No, I understand. But it's just like all womankind. That was kind of scary. But I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And it's really fun. I like what you guys are doing. I hope that it continues like this. And good luck.
What would you want to see moving forward into the year from us?
I would like to see you talk about right now about having, you're about to have a baby. We're going to a baby shower right now. You know what I'm saying? You're about to have a baby shower right now, in an hour. I want to know, how is it after my sister has a baby and you're going through? I want to know what you're going through. What's in your head? What do you feel? I want to see it through your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was a little obviously daunting. I've never had a kid before. Then there's so much concern that comes with being a parent before the baby's even born because I have to prepare everything in the house. Obviously, I have to make sure that I continue making the money for now a new kid and buy new clothes and this and that. I have to, and then I'm the kind of guy that thinks in the future. So like making sure that Eli and this next one have a relationship that I don't even have with my brother, and that comes up with the way that we were raised. So
a lot to do with that.
Yeah, so that's what I want to give them. I have to make sure that my wife's taken care of, right? Like the fear of the first one, I don't know if it's irrational or not, but you think about all the bad things that can happen. Like, is she going to survive the labor? If things go left, if things go right, is the baby going to be okay? Those are concerns, but those are all things that are out of my control. All I can do is think about it and then hope that it turns out okay. And then just be present in the moment.
Yeah, but you acknowledging it is really good. Like, I want to know, like, I would have loved to know what Kervin was like. I even think myself sometimes that I didn't ask him what he was going through when I was giving birth, or when they kept my son for 7 days in ICU and I was a mess, you know? And I would like to know that. And Larry, I want to know what are, your wedding plans, your rehearsal dinner. What are you planning? Like, how part are you in it? Like, those are things that I want to hear, because you guys are going through it. Mm-hmm. And I want to see the perspective of a guy. I want to see what is Larry picking flowers? Is Larry picking? But you know what I'm saying? Like, what?
I mean, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about personal stuff in the new year. But I did want to let you stew in your argument earlier about the single mother, because I could have saved you, but I didn't. I'm not going to do it either, because I still think you should have a father in the household. But my mom raised me by herself. My father was locked up for 18 years. So I didn't have a relationship with my father until I was damn near out of high school.
Wow.
And, I'm dealing with a lot of that shit now. Like, I never realized how much it affected me not having my dad. And even, like certain studies will show that kids are less likely to graduate high school. They're more likely to use drugs or guns, and more likely to be incarcerated by not having their dad around. So thankfully, I've dodged most of that shit, and I'm in therapy now dealing with the rest of it. So, to everybody out there watching, regardless of which situation is, if you can work it out with your spouse, work it the fuck out. Like, it's not worth the risk of splitting up and then gambling with your kid and seeing how it turns out. Yeah, wow. Larry 2024.
Larry 2024, we're keeping it up. He's got my vote, and that's a black vote.
I would have never thought that.
All right.
I love that. That was hilarious. George, people don't know that you're really funny.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah,
people don't know.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
No, we get a lot of hate on social media.
Really?
Yeah, people don't like my sense of humor.
No, I mean, it's because they don't understand it. Yeah. But after a few shows, they're going to be like, he's just like that.
Yeah.
You got anything big you're working on? Are you doing anything on social media? You want to tell people what you're getting into and where they can follow you?
I'm not doing anything on social media. Okay. I'm not really big on social media. My husband is. Kervin's Photography. Check him out. He's doing a lot of photography. Good woman right there.
Yeah. He didn't even have to remind her to do it. She did it right.
He didn't just go like this.
Hey. We could drop a link for some of Kervin's work.
No, he didn't just do this.
Kervin's an amazing photographer. He he did the first baby shower for Eli. He did paternity pictures. Both Eli's birthdays, he took pictures. It's just like my man does good things for his family, and I'm always going to appreciate that for sure. He's here right now doing recording. I didn't even ask him to do it.
Oh, I come with an entourage. Sorry. I bring my camera.
So clearly it's good to say that Garvin got lucky.
Clearly.
Clearly. Wow, that's a good one. I'm going to let that one slide because he has the camera.
Well, look, we just want to appreciate you coming on. Taking it seriously.
So much. Thank you. I asked a lot of people opinions, and but
hopefully you didn't disappoint them. They're gonna watch this and be like, "Well, Robin didn't really stick her ground."
I know. I'm really nervous of everything.
How do I get on this goddamn podcast? I'm gonna set the record straight.
You know what? What we gotta do is the dude that you think is the representative of.
Oh my God! Yes,
we got to talk to him in one way.
Do you want to hear what he said?
Oh shit! Well, go ahead, throw it at me.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what he said, and I was like, damn.
I mean, the thing is, when it comes to something like that, the biggest thing you see in society, and obviously it doesn't apply to everyone, but for a lot of people, there's sort of this ideal that men should still be traditional men, meaning men should still be breadwinners, men should still be completely focused on taking care of the family, and stress should not be a factor in how they're doing. Emotional wellness should not be a factor in how they're doing. It should literally just be, you wake up, you go out there to make the bread, and you bring it back to the family, which I feel is something that a lot of women sort of like expect from men, like to this day. But then on the other side of the coin, you see that there are a lot of women who don't want to fill the traditional female role, which was, stay at home and take care of children and take care of the family and cook dinner and things like that. It's like, it's seen as misogynistic to view like a female from that perspective. But the thing is that while women are expecting men to be traditional men, it's seen as wrong for men to look for women to fill like the traditional woman role. So then you have this weird thing about like women being like boss bitches or being their own boss or being independent and being this and being that. And then when they get into a relationship, it's not about being that independent individual with another independent individual. It's about being with someone who can take care of them, but also not tell them what to do at the same exact time. And it's like they're like trying to have both sides, like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, I guess you could say. And again, this doesn't apply to everyone. It's just some women in society expect that to be the norm, and then get upset when, a man will go out and work for 12, 13 hours a day, come back, and then get upset at them when they've been there all day spending money or watching TV or not doing much, or, maybe they are working, but then, when the man gets home, and expects there to be some sort of like, oh, hey, like, did you figure out dinner? Nowadays there's obviously more resources, so you don't have to cook all the time. But it's like, hey, did you figure out dinner? Did you do this? Did you take care of that?
All she said was, hey, how you doing?
When a man hears no, it's sort of just like, okay, so you want me to like pay all the bills? You want me to pay your rent? You want me to buy you bags? You want me to do this? You want me to do that? But you can't even figure out like what's for dinner, or like what's happening here, or did you take care of that, or whatever the case is. And I feel like that's what happens a lot nowadays. And you can even take it a little bit more nuanced than that, but that's just like the general overarching view when it comes.
And he stopped there. You see what
his phone died. Using all that energy, recording his phone 20-minute.
Dead ass.
And don't get me wrong.
Well, make sure you send him the link to the Mancave podcast, because we basically already fucking said that, and he disagreed with everything that we said.
He did. He's really good at that. He really agrees, and I like to hear male point of view, and he gives good points of view.
This is the only male point of view that you need outside of your husband from now on.
Okay, perfect. Much. I hope it touches all the bases.
Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Again, thank you for coming on to this episode.
Thank you very much.
Taking it seriously, doing what you did. And, once I edit it and piece it together, that kind of influenced whether we'll let another woman in here or not.
Oh my goodness, no. Of course, you have to always accept other people's opinions the same way that you're giving yours out.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that.
I totally agree.
Welcome to the Mancave podcast, where we catch you the night.
It's always good to have a woman's opinion.
Oh my God, she has to get the last word.
Welcome to the Man Cave.